Welcome to the Ultra Advanced on eBay guy. This is where we answer the advanced questions. You can ask anything, anytime in the comments, whatever you want to ask. We will always answer. This is the only YouTube channel on earth, no, in the whole universe, powered by Krispy Kremes, ribeye steaks, and coffee. You're fortunate. We're going to talk about promoted listings, all about the promotions that you need to understand. And we're not talking about like a job promotion, like that farmer that got promoted to CIEIO. None of that stuff. We're talking about promoted listings. There are three types of promoted listings on eBay, and they are promoted listings standard, promoted listings express, and promoted listings advanced. The only one you will most of the time be concerned with is promoted listings standard. Promoted listings express is a fixed fee promotion that you can do if you run auctions. Once in a while, we'll run auctions. We almost always do the Promoted Listings Express. Promoted Listings Advanced is the traditional pay-per-click, whereas every single time someone clicks on your promoted listing, you are charged money. We only want to look at Promoted Listings Standard. That is a concept never before done on any reselling platform. And what it is only if someone clicks your promoted link and eventually buys something are they charged that promoted fee. 9%, 3%, whatever you charge for that listing that they buy, if they click your fee, then and only then will you be charged. In other words, there are a lot of sales that you will make. Let's say that you do a promoted listing standard on every single item. There are lots of times you will never be charged a promoted listings fee. It's a beautiful thing because maybe Google Shopping found your item and your buyer went through Google Shopping, and that way Google Shopping sends them straight to your listing. Maybe it's a viral type of thing. Maybe they were just looking through a category. There are many ways to find your items without clicking on a promoted listing. So often you won't even pay a promoted listing fee. That's the great thing about it. Pay-per-click, Promoted Listings Advanced, you always pay a fee every single time someone clicks. With Promoted Listings Express, you always pay that fee, whether your item sells or not. With Promoted Listings Standard, you're only charged the click-through fee if your item sells, and only for that one person, not for everyone else who has clicked. Anytime you do promoted listings, and this is not a total beginner, what is a promoted listings? I just needed to run through the data to bring everyone up to the same level, and I'm pretty sure everyone already was if you're listening to this channel, but just in case, whenever you add a promoted listings percentage fee to any listing, then eBay will put sponsored on that listing. Wherever it appears, it'll be a little word sponsored. Most buyers have no clue what's going on. It's not like they'll be turned off by that. It's no big deal. But eBay has to differentiate promoted listings items from those that are not promoted. So this Pendleton Hobo bag is promoted. The seller did a promoted listings fee, and this Saddleback bag, the seller did not do a promoted listings fee. The only way we know that is through sponsor. We're going to get to the exact amount, to the approximate amount you should ask for any item's promoted listing. Let's look real fast at promoted listings. Let's say I'm selling this Noritake China item. By the way, that is not a white background, but it is. Notice there's a thin white bar all around that item. I will someday tell you the whole secret, the magic to that white bar around this item that doesn't really have a white background, and yet it does. Anyway, moving on. So this is a Noritake thing, and let's go down, and we did all the condition and everything, and now it's time to do a promoted listings fee. Your promoted listings fee, generally, whenever you list an item, it will be turned off. Okay? I'm surprised eBay doesn't default to it being on, but probably so many people were charged and they didn't want to be that eBay realized we need to keep this off unless the seller wants to turn it on. Whenever you turn it on, you have the ability to enter a percent from 2% all the way up to 100%. Now, 100% means if your item sells, 100% of the sales price eBay keeps. But in return, eBay's going to show your item to a lot of people because eBay wants that fee. What a promoted listing fee does is basically bribe eBay to raise your item in the search results so that more people see it on the first page, hopefully, maybe even in the first slot or two of all search results for that item. The higher your promoted listings percent, if you go from 2 to 5.8, then 5.8 is bribing eBay. Put me a little bit higher than all those sucker sellers who are promoting only 5.7% or 2% or whatever. Everyone below you will not be bribing eBay as much as you, and you will appear higher in the search results, and every time your item is searched for, which basically means it will probably be sold, all things being equal, probably be sold before everyone else's, and you're paying a fee to do that. Whatever the final result is of the selling price plus shipping charge, that's a little gotcha that eBay kind of unfairly charges us, but you will be charged 5.8% of the final selling price plus shipping. So what do? eBay suggests 13.4% on this very unusual, not a lot of them for sale right now on eBay item. eBay would love for me to choose its 13.4%. Well, there's no way I'm going to do that. That's outrageous. And I'll show you why. I'll tell you why in a second. But I do want a promoted listings percent on every item that I sell. Now the minimum is 2.0. Oh, sorry about that. The minimum is 2.0. Most sellers don't do a promoted listings fee. That's why most listings you don't see that word sponsored on them. Most sellers do not do anything here. They don't want to be ripped off by eBay. Well, I want to sell things. I'm not in here to store items on eBay. So I want a promoted listings fee on every listing. Now the minimum is 2.0. Used to be 1, now it's 2. 2.0. Most sellers that do a promoted listings fee do it the bare minimum, 2.0. If you want to do the bare minimum, or if you figure out, based on what I'm about to tell you at the end, how to determine what you should charge, then you can do a 2.0, but don't do that. Because everyone who does a promoted listings fee, it does 2.0. What I want to see you do is 2.1. You're just barely bribing eBay more to show your listing higher than the majority of people who have chosen the bare minimum 2.0 promoted listings fee. And you're really not out any zero statistically, you're out no more money than if you chose 2, but you're going to be slightly higher in the search results. Now, if someone else is paying 9%, they're going to appear higher than you, all things being equal, but there's a lot more involved in your search rank. How good your title is, how well does it match what the buyer is looking for, how good your pictures are, how good your item specifics are. Did you just fill out 1 or 2, the required, or did you fill out more? eBay rewards sellers who have a good history, who have top-rated seller status. eBay is always giving search engine love for different reasons. This is just one reason. So if you have a very good track record on eBay, especially if you're a top-rated seller, which isn't that hard to get. We're going to be talking about that in this group. Top-rated seller, you have great feedback, you have, you show a perfect shipping, you ship on time, your handling time is always right, your return rate is very low, which is normal. Returns are normally very low, and so eBay will reward that person above a worse seller who doesn't always ship on time, who doesn't have a perfect feedback, who doesn't have a long history with eBay. That seller, even if he or she has a higher percentage of promoted listings than you, you still might appear above them. eBay has stated that on their eBay for Business podcast before. As a matter of fact, if you're a very good seller and you're wondering, should I even do a promoted listings for a certain item, such as a rare item, we're going to talk about that, you really don't have to do a promoted listings fee. You're still going to be very high in the search results just because of your track record on eBay. If you owned eBay, you would also give the best sellers in your platform higher search engine result overall. You would, in general, give your best sellers because you want your buyers to come back and back and back and buy things. They only do that if they get a good experience. So if I owned eBay, I would be feeding the search engine. I would be making it top heavy for the good sellers. But if eBay didn't give bad sellers search engine love once in a while, they would never sell anything. And they would leave, and there would be very few sellers on eBay. So eBay has to randomly shoot bad sellers towards the top of the search engine result. That's why sometimes you'll see someone who's just a terrible seller above you when you did a strong promoted listings fee and you have such a good track record. That's just a random act. That's just a randomness in the way that they have to give bad sellers some search engine love once in a while. You will, all things being equal, over time, always outdo those. So if you want to do the bare minimum promoted listings just to get your item above the noise in all searches, then do 2.1, not 2.0, because you're going to be slightly higher than the majority who have done 2.0. Why does eBay say 13.4%? very important that you know that eBay's suggestion is based on the category that you're selling in. Now, the category for this Noritake is pottery, glass, decorative cookware, dinner, and serveware creamers. So that means in all creamers for sale on eBay, you are competing against all creamers for sale. If you were, you would pay 13.4% to get above the noise, but you're not competing against all sellers of all creamers. You're only competing against sellers of Noritake Ontario pattern creamers. There are far fewer of those. That's just a drop in the bucket, the number of people selling those. You might even be the only one once in a while. And so you're going to always be above the noise if you're the only one or two and you're a good seller. Therefore, don't believe this suggestion. That's for the category. If you just had a general creamer with no brand, you're going to have to really boost that because eBay is very brand specific and brands help sell items. If you don't have a brand, you got to do something else to get that thing sold. You're going to have to ask a low price, and it's got to be in perfect condition, and you're going to have to really bribe eBay, probably with 13 or 14% promoted listings fee. But in general, this suggestion is always for the category, not your specific item. Now, let's say you're a pretty good seller and you're selling a rare item, one that there might be 7 for sale on eBay, there might be 17 for sale on eBay, but they're all pre-owned, vintage, antique. Antique is anything over 100 years old. Vintage, in general, is anything over 20 years old. If you're selling an antique item and there are only 17 other sellers selling the same thing, well, they're not selling the same thing. You are selling 17 different things because the condition of yours will differ from the condition of each and every one of those. They're pre-owned items. It's not new in the box. Therefore, you're not really competing against 17 other people. You're really competing just for the top spot in the search engine. And if your account's pretty good and you do, and the majority of sellers don't do promoted listings. So most of those 17 will not have done a promoted listing. In that case, you're going to go low. Go 2.1%, maybe 3.1%. Don't ever do 3.5, go 3.6, because most people who want to do a little bit better than 2.0, they go 2.5. Most people who want to do better than 2.5, they'll just choose 3.0, 3.5, 4.0. Don't you do that. Do 2.1, 2.6, 3.1, 3.6. 4.1, 4.6, and so on. So if you see a lot of promoted listings for items that are similar to yours, even if they're only 5 very similar to yours at a very similar price, and they're all promoted, you might want to go a little higher on that. I wouldn't go 13.4, but you might want to go 5.1% for something like that, because you're competing against very few people, but you just happen to have picked an item where 5 are very similar conditions to yours. But even 5's nothing. They're going to sell out or you're going to sell it. I mean, it's not like they're going to be around for long. Everyone's going to sell out of 5 or 6 of these. So even then, it's hard for me to go above 3.1% on a promoted listings. When do you go higher? Whenever you're selling an item that is basically a staple item. You're selling a pretty generic iPhone cell phone case. Right? iPhone cell phone case. I mess up on that all the time. iPhone cell phone case because I don't use one of those lady phones. I don't use one of those lady computers. You know those Apple computers? I use Androids and Windows computers. So I don't know much about them, but it always throws me. iPhone phone. Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. So if you're selling an iPhone cell phone case and it's $20 and you've got 20 of them and you look online, there are thousands of sellers selling $20 iPhone cases. Thousands are available. All sorts of things, brand new. They're all doing free shipping, which I don't generally want you to ever do. They're all doing free shipping, and in order to rise above the noise, you also have to match all of that. You've got to do free shipping, and you're going to have to go high. You're competing against a lot of people on that sort of thing. You're going to have to go up to 10, 15, maybe 20%, 20.1% to get something like that sold. But in general, you will never go that high for a promoted listings fee. In general, 2.1 for everything, bare minimum, I think is a good rule. You don't have to use a promoted listing if you're the only one selling something. You know, an old antique, once in a while that will be the case. You're going to be the only one selling something. Happens to me weekly, you know. You don't have to do a promoted listings fee at all. I always do 2.1, always on every listing at the least. And then I will adjust based on the data that I just told you. How competitive is it? How many are there just like mine? And I will have to go up if it's more competitive, or if there are many like mine that have the same condition pre-owned. But in general, well, my selling accounts that I sell on are very strong accounts. And I've been a seller since 1999, what is the year? 25 years as of I'm speaking, telling you this. So my account is powerful by itself, but I still will do 2.1 on everything. But even if it's some sort of an item that I'm competing against 20, 30, 50, 100 sellers or more, I definitely will go higher. I may have to go up to 7.1, 7.6%. That's highly unusual for me because I don't like to sell items like that. I like to sell items that I'm not competing against anyone because I'm in the business, as I said, to sell something. I'm not in the business to store a bunch of, I'm not in the warehousing business. I'm in the reselling business. And so are you. I hope this helps you understand when and how much in general to charge for a promoted listings standard percentage on every single listing that you ever list going forth. If you have any questions, always ask. I will fully answer you in any comments that you send.